What this local hiker found in the forest 10 miles from his home is still hard to explain. It was a secret that, miraculously, had been kept hidden for years. But when the unexpected adventurer found this remote metro station in the middle of the woods, he could not help but be captivated by it. And things got even stranger when he found out it was still powered. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so you never miss any of our upcoming stories. Kevin loved being alone in nature, away from traffic, voices, and endless screens. Hours into his hike, he hadn't seen another soul, which suited him. The forest wrapped him in birdsong and rustling leaves, offering peace. He felt safe, far removed from chaos. But this comforting solitude would soon become the very thing he regretted more than anything imaginable. The trail curved left when Kevin spotted something unusual beyond the trees. At first, he thought it was sunlight flashing off stone or glass, but the gleam lingered, pulling at his curiosity. He left the marked path, brushing branches aside, pressing deeper into the thickets. Step by step, he crept forward, unsure what strange thing was drawing him onward. Breaking through thick brush, Kevin entered a clearing and stopped short. A cliff face loomed, blocking the northern edge of the forest. Yet, that wasn't the strangest part. Nestled against the rock stood something impossible, a glass-covered metro entrance. Its steel beams stood weathered but intact, like a city structure transplanted here. It was bizarre, out of place, and chilling. Kevin circled it slowly. From every angle, it looked authentic. A grimy glass roof, rusted beams, vines curling along the frame. Wild grass grew where sidewalks should have been. A heavy iron gate sealed it, behind which escalators disappeared underground. Kevin's skin prickled. The forest had concealed a relic of this city, buried in silence, waiting for someone to find. The sight unsettled him, yet curiosity burned hotter than fear. He leaned close, squinting through the bars at the escalator. Glancing around, he half expected someone watching. No one. "I have to figure this out," he whispered. Later, he'd regret those words. He could have left, spared himself what followed, but the choice was gone. Curiosity had already won. Kevin crouched near the gate, studying the bars. No lock, keypad, or visible latch strangely secure against intruders. He considered forcing it with a tool, something like a crowbar, he muttered, scanning the ground for leverage. His eyes landed instead on vines curling around the structure. Parting them aside, he noticed a shape half buried, a forgotten panel, wires, and something else. Behind the ivy was a metal panel, wires tangled, small rotors, and one large red button. His heart kicked as he brushed away dirt, revealing it fully. "What is this doing here?" he muttered. It looked old but intact, hidden deliberately. Kevin hesitated, instincts whispering to leave it alone. He pressed. For a heartbeat, nothing. Then machinery roared alive. The rotors spun, lights blinked furiously, and a low hum spread outward. Kevin stumbled back, stunned. This forgotten place was suddenly breathing, alive again, as if waiting for this moment. The once dead metro entrance vibrated faintly under his feet, awakening like some great beast disturbed from its long slumber. Harsh bulbs above flickered on, flooding the glass enclosure with light. Down below, escalators clattered into motion, steps groaning as they carried nothing into darkness. Then came a metallic clang, the heavy gate rattled, then retracted fully into the ground. Kevin's jaw dropped. "What the hell is this?" he whispered. Kevin froze. The escalators moved like a mouth inviting him in, shadows stretching below. His stomach knotted. He turned, scanning the forest. "Hello?" he called, voice cracking. Silence. His words echoed into blackness, swallowed whole. The stillness pressed heavy on him. He lingered at the threshold, paralyzed between dread and fascination, every second making it harder to walk away. Kneeling, Kevin grabbed a branch and tossed it onto the escalator. It rattled down the steps, clattering into darkness, vanishing. Nothing unusual happened. The machine simply carried it away, humming steadily. Kevin's pulse thumped hard. He edged closer, torn between fear and curiosity. "This is insane," he muttered, staring into the void, knowing it wanted him to follow. From far below came a sound. Not machinery, not mechanical hum, but organic footsteps or scraping on concrete. Kevin stiffened, heart hammered. He leaned forward, ears straining, eyes wide. The escalator clanked beneath him. Then silence again. The sound evaporated, but the certainty remained. He wasn't alone. Something alive moved down there, hidden in the suffocating dark beyond the lights. His phone came out quickly, camera on, recording. He leaned it over the gap, angling down. The escalator groaned as though listening. Pixels flickered on his screen, then his slick fingers betrayed him. The phone slipped. Kevin extended his phone cautiously over the escalator, angling it downward to film. The screen showed only flickering bulbs and restless shadows. His pulse thundered as pixels shifted, something stirred below. Just as the image flickered clearer, his damp grip betrayed him. The phone jolted violently in his trembling hands. The phone slipped, clattering against metal before landing on the moving steps. "No!" Kevin shouted, lunging but too late. His stomach twisted in dread. Panic overtook him, knowing his only connection to the outside world was gone. With a shaky breath, he stepped onto the escalator. The machine carried him downward relentlessly. Above, sunlight shrank until it disappeared. Shadows swallowed him whole as he descended into the humming dark toward whatever waited unseen below. The descent stretched endlessly. Kevin's pulse throbbed louder than the escalator's hum. Grimy tiled walls pressed close, cracked and streaked with mold. Every few meters, a fluorescent tube flickered, casting uneven patches of light. Shadows twisted unnervingly with each flicker. Kevin clutched the steel railing, terrified the machine might stop, or worse, something could appear suddenly from the oppressive darkness below. After endless minutes, the escalator jolted to a halt with a clang. Kevin stepped off cautiously, legs trembling, heart hammering. He scanned nervously, eyes locking on something familiar near the center, his phone, lying cracked but glowing faintly against the dust. The shattered screen pulsed weak light, casting a fragile bubble around it. Kevin crouched low, steps echoing unnervingly across the cavernous hall. "This place, it's eerie as hell," he whispered, voice smothered by silence. Each footfall sounded too loud, feeding his nerve. He slid forward cautiously, heart hammering, before finally snatching the phone up and clutching it like fragile treasure. Kevin turned the phone slowly in trembling hands, brushing dust from the glass. Cracks spiderwebbed outward, but the screen still glowed faintly when pressed. Relief flooded him. "At least you're still working," he muttered. The weak light illuminated drifting dust motes and fractured tiles nearby. Kevin scanned the vast station with the phone's glow. Dust floated in beams of light, tiles cracked beneath his boots. The structure groaned faintly, alive in its decay. His own breathing echoed unnervingly, feeding the sensation of unseen eyes watching. His grip tightened on the phone. With cautious resolve, he stepped forward, deeper into the stillness pressing around him. Kevin's shoes tapped softly as he explored. The place was unmistakably a metro station, frozen in time. Rusted benches lined walls, layers of gray dust smothering everything. Faded signage sagged unreadably from the ceiling. He passed cracked ticket booths, their windows draped in cobwebs. Once busy with commuters, the hall now stood silent, like a relic buried beneath the earth. Old posters still clung to the walls, edges curling like brittle leaves. Kevin brushed one with his light. The dates were 30 years old. His chest tightened. This place had been sealed for decades, yet the escalator worked. Confusion deepened when he spotted odd items nearby, a half-eaten food wrapper and a single worn shoe abandoned beside a bench. Suddenly, a metallic clang rang out, echoing violently through the station. Kevin froze, every muscle tight, phone shaking in his grip. His breath snagged as he spun toward the sound. It had come from deeper underground. He stood rooted in dread, pulse hammering as silence returned heavier than before. Still, curiosity forced him to move. Questions piled like bricks in Kevin's mind. Why was a metro built in the forest? Why was it still powered decades later? And what caused that clang? His instincts screamed to leave, but curiosity prevailed. Against reason, he pressed on until he stood before a heavy metal door, its illuminated access panel glowing faintly through layers of grime. Kevin lifted his phone higher, the beam revealing details. Scuff marks scraped in dust at the door's base, as if someone had stumbled through recently. He crouched, brushing the ground, heart racing. A faint rustle whispered from somewhere close, fabric against stone. He snapped upright instantly. Flashlight, swinging wildly across the black corridor, chasing an invisible figure just beyond reach. Something streaked across his narrow beam of light. Kevin jerked backward, heart hammering violently. His phone shook, but the hallway looked empty again. Breath ragged, he lowered the device and saw the camera was still recording. It had captured everything, even after tumbling down the escalator. Kevin's pulse surged. He had evidence of whatever haunted these tunnels. Kevin replayed the shaky footage, palms damp. Frames showed the tumble onto metal steps, then something else. A man entered view, his face gaunt, skin pale, eyes sunken, clothes hung in rags. He leaned toward the lens, filling the screen. Kevin froze. This was no shadow. Someone real had been down here, living in the dark, watching silently. Kevin's stomach twisted as the video continued. His own recorded voice called, "Hello? Anyone down there?" The man reacted instantly, eyes wide, scrambling into a side tunnel. Kevin's blood ran cold. "Oh my God," he whispered. He hadn't been imagining anything. Someone had heard him, had been watching, and was still down here in the darkness. Kevin shoved the phone deep into his pocket, knuckles white. The footage showed more than he wanted, but there was no turning back. His focus shifted to the looming metal door ahead, separating him from the tunnel beyond. This was the same place he'd heard footsteps earlier. faint echoes whispering through the underground, reminding him he was not alone. At first, Kevin had convinced himself the sounds were nerves, but now he knew someone had been here this Willem. That ragged man had slipped beyond the barrier. Kevin's throat went dry, heart thudding painfully. Determination steadied him despite the fear. Whoever lingered here, he needed answers. His grip tightened on the phone's light as he pushed forward slowly. Kevin pressed his palm to the cold steel and shoved. Hinges groaned until the heavy door gave way. He stepped cautiously inside. The chamber beyond wasn't storage, it was a cluttered cell of shadows. Boxes lay toppled, furniture splintered, debris scattered like bones. Dust clung everywhere, but unease grew in his gut. Something about the space felt deeply wrong. It wasn't just decay that unsettled him. Dust across the floor was disturbed, uneven, scuffed, covered in faint footprints. In the corner lay a mound of blankets, arranged into crude bedding. Kevin's stomach twisted. Someone had lived here, hidden for years beneath the forest. He froze where he stood, pulse racing, realizing he was standing inside a secret life. Kevin's eyes darted nervously across the room. He crouched near the bedding, noting its ragged folds, questions swirling. How long had this been used? Was the man nearby? Before he could touch anything, the chamber answered. A sharp creak echoed from the door, pulling his attention back. His chest tightened as dread clawed up his throat. Something was happening. Kevin spun just as the heavy door moved. It swung inward on rusted hinges, slow and deliberate. "Wait!" he shouted, lunging desperately, fingers stretching for the frame. But he was too late. With a deafening metallic slam, the exit sealed tight, cutting him off from escape. Darkness closed in, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might burst. Kevin tried to force open the steel door, but it refused to move. Panic hit him as he realized he was trapped underground with no chance of rescue. Exhausted and breathless, he steadied himself, knowing that panicking would only make things worse. He searched the chamber for anything useful and soon noticed a rusted locker near an old bedding area. Forcing it open, he discovered canned goods, old clothes, and a worn notebook with the name Willem on the cover. Kevin recognized the name. This must have belonged to the man once filmed living down here. Hoping Willem might still be around, Kevin called out, but the silence only made the space feel colder. Turning to the notebook, he began reading entries that dated back nearly 30 years. Willem had lived here from the station's earliest days, recording survival and the mysterious shutdown of the underground project. Then Kevin found a final cryptic message: "When intruders arrive, do your Shawshank Redemption." Kevin realized this might mean Willem had created a hidden escape tunnel, just like in the movie. He scanned the chamber again, now certain the room held more secrets. Kevin realizes that the clue from the movie points to a hidden escape tunnel inside the abandoned station. He searches the chamber carefully and notices a crooked metro map on the wall, one that has been handled repeatedly over the year. When he removes it, he discovers a narrow opening carved into the stone, confirming that someone had been digging a secret exit long ago. The tunnel is cramped, rough, and clearly made by hand. As Kevin shines his light inside, he is shocked to see a human face staring back at him. It is Willem, the man from the old video, gaunt and terrified. Willem retreats into the darkness, but Kevin crawls through the tight passage to reach him. The tunnel leads to another small chamber where Willem paces, trapped with no other way out. Kevin raises his hands calmly and reassures him that he means no harm. After a tense pause, Willem finally speaks. He admits that he is indeed Willem and that he has been living hidden beneath the forest for decades, unseen by anyone. Kevin realizes he is face to face with the station's long-lost survivor, a man who has lived in silence for years. Willem explains that the metro station was fully built in the 1980 seconds for a new neighborhood that was never completed. When the development collapsed, the station was shut down before opening, and the workers were let go. Willem had finally earned a stable job there after a troubled past, but losing it destroyed his chance to rebuild his life. With no one willing to hire him and eventually losing his home, he returned to the abandoned station and lived there in secret for more than 30 years. The tunnels became his shelter and his prison, safe from judgment but filled with crushing loneliness. He reveals he showed himself to Kevin because he needed human contact after decades in isolation. Kevin promises not to expose him and to return with help. Willem also explains that he built a hidden mechanism to reopen the sealed door, proving how completely he has mastered the forgotten station. Kevin and Willem crawl back through the tight tunnel to the main chamber. Willem reveals a hidden release mechanism, unlocking the heavy door and allowing Kevin to escape. They return to the surface together, pausing in a meaningful moment before parting. A few days later, Kevin comes back with food, beginning an unexpected friendship that brings Willem out of decades of isolation. Thank you for watching. If you like this story, don't forget to hit the like button, subscription, and ring the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming story.